I mean, Meghan is an agent of poison. She actually is able to destroy relationships. And when she cultivates relationships, it's always for her own good, her own purpose.
But she's ruthless.
Mm-hmm.
She thought, this is good for me and it's good for the business.
She is a person who has absolutely remorseless in her hatred if she doesn't decide that someone should be neutralized and destroyed, and that is her strength and, of course, her weakness. We know now in hindsight that Meghan never really intended to stay. Her guest list to her wedding showed her real ambition was to be a star in California, and Harry's friends were excluded from the guest list in the evening from the dinner. I mean, the Sussexes have moved on. They don't care two hoots whether he's frankly alive or dead anymore, and probably they prefer him to disappear.
You know, she's always so envious of Kate and her children. She hates it when she sees Kate and her children dominating the news waves.
Whenever they need money, whenever they need publicity to stoke their reputation, they'll drop another little bomb. I mean, we're still waiting, of course, for Meghan's own autobiography, which I'm sure she is penning. She is a good writer, and it'll be filled with vitriol and filled with lies. I mean, she will not tell the truth because she wants sensational headlines.
And didn't realize what a manipulative and determined woman she was herself. He completely misjudged the comparison between Meghan and his mother. And his mother, I mean, no one is going to listen anymore to them bleating about being racist and being victims of racism and all the rest of it. They've played that out.
I mean, that's the problem with the Sussexes. They are only interested in themselves. All the talk about helping society and generosity towards the underdog is all just really.
Tom Bower has built his career exposing powerful people, and in his new research, he says Meghan Markle's carefully crafted public narrative is finally collapsing. He interviews the individuals she erased, the insiders who witnessed everything, and the people Meghan and Harry hoped would stay silent forever.
She's a manipulator and an oppressor, and hates the free press if it's not doing exactly what she wants. And that is her problem now.
He gathers documents, timelines, contradictions, and first-hand accounts. He keeps receipts. And according to him, the unraveling is happening faster than Meghan ever expected. For Bower, this isn't just another royal controversy. It is the moment the truth overwhelms the performance she spent years selling.
In them now, people are beginning to see the truth, which I exposed 2 years ago in my book, Revenge. I mean, the truth about them is they are narcissistic and intent on self-glorification to profit from their notoriety.
He says Meghan's story was never just inconsistent, it was strategic. A calculated system of rewriting the past, weaponizing sympathy, embellishing childhood struggles, erasing people who helped her, and bending facts into whatever narrative she needed at the moment.
Is her intention because she loves the spotlight. Everything is geared to her self-promotion.
According to Bower, Meghan didn't only blur the truth, she redesigned it. She monetized royal names, manipulated timelines, and adopted the victim role every time her own decisions turned against her. And the moment people started fact-checking her claims, the collapse began. The real turning point, according to Bower, was the scandal surrounding the name Lilibet. Meghan and Harry purchased the domain name before informing the Queen.
She decided to monetize, as she has on every occasion, the royal family. Whether it's the coat of arms or whether it's calling herself a duchess, she actually monetized the Queen's name. And I find that that alone is pretty damning of her. I mean, it was a shocking thing to do.
The Queen was furious. When Harry later claimed he had permission, the palace quietly told the BBC the truth. They publicly contradicted him, something they rarely do. Harry's legal threats failed. The palace refused to retract the statement, and Bower says this was the moment their credibility began to fall apart. It was not miscommunication, it was deliberate. From there, Bower breaks down how Meghan rewrote her childhood. She portrayed herself as a struggling latchkey child who grew up poor, eating cheap meals and navigating a broken home. In truth, her father paid for private schools, ballet classes, photography lessons, designer clothing, her car, her university fees, and every pursuit she showed interest in.
So when she sort of suddenly announced that she was a latchkey kid and had to eat takeaway dinners, whereas before she'd said that she used to eat very healthy food and go to some fine restaurants, which of course is the truth with her father.
Yeah, remember?
Her father also stated that he never mailed the Procter & Gamble letter she claims launched her activism. According to Bauer, Meghan erased her father when his real identity no longer matched the narrative she wanted the world to believe.
And when Vanity Fair asked Procter & Gamble whether it was true or not, Procter & Gamble went through all their very carefully, meticulously kept files and found absolutely no letter from Meghan, which isn't surprising because the father said he never sent the letter and there was no reply. So that's a story's bogus.
Bauer says the Oprah interview was another fracture point. It was supposed to redefine Meghan and Harry as global victims of the monarchy, but instead it backfired. 17 inaccuracies were later identified. Meghan's claim of a secret wedding 3 days before the ceremony was disproven by the Archbishop himself. Her attempt to connect Archie's title to a race comment was contradicted by long-standing title rules.
That her credibility sank once all the inaccuracies, 17 of them, in the Oprah Winfrey interview emerged. Like, for example, she hadn't really been married in St. George's Chapel, or this ridiculous conversation about the color of Archie's skin because he would get police protection. It was all lies.
Palace records showed she had access to help she claimed she was denied. For Bauer, the Oprah interview exposed Meghan, not the royal family. He also highlights the Australia tour as a major turning point behind the scenes. The public saw glowing headlines and cheering crowds. The staff experienced tantrums, rudeness, and the infamous tea-throwing incident. Meghan behaved like a celebrity, expecting VIP treatment rather than a representative of the monarchy. But Bauer says the deeper issue was psychological.
Meghan was selling her series and selling her commercial things, the jams or whatever, the image, the brand. That's all taken a huge hit now. She is facing a crisis. What does she now do? She's fired her biggest shots, the best shots, and they're duds.
Meghan believed the crowd's adoration was for her personally, not for the royal institution she represented. She convinced herself she was on Diana's level. And when she realized she would always rank below William and Catherine, the seeds of her exit plan were planted. According to Bauer, one of the most shocking betrayals occurred during the Queen's funeral. While the world hoped for reconciliation, Meghan and Harry had already recorded their attacks for Netflix. They shook hands with mourners beside William and Catherine, fully aware that the accusations were already filmed, edited, and ready. Bauer says Harry did the same at Prince Philip's funeral. This was not pain, it was strategy.
The argument had happened weeks before.
Okay.
Because their lead time is much longer. So the Queen didn't come into it. What came into it was he had a cover already. He didn't want her on the cover. And she tried to interfere with the online content. And he said, well, you can't control it. And that was her point. She wanted control.
He also reveals that Meghan modeled herself after Diana in a calculated way. She copied the clothing, the jewelry, the poses, the emotional tone, and even attempted to switch the family surname to Spencer by asking Earl Spencer directly. He refused immediately. According to Bauer, the Spencers wanted no part in the scandals they saw coming.
In Meghan's mind, she is Diana.
Yes.
I mean, Diana Spencer is Meghan Spencer. And that was all part of her imagination that somehow she could inherit the glow of her dead mother-in-law.
Hollywood eventually began backing away. Invitations vanished. Collaborations stalled. Spotify ended its partnership publicly. Netflix reduced future commitments. Archewell's numbers fell. Public support declined across the US, UK, and Australia. According to Bauer, this was not a result of racism or royal conspiracy. It was the natural result of inconsistencies and manipulation coming to light.
Is always very carefully gauged that she couldn't anymore play on emotion in that way. I'm sure she's very tempted to, but have you noticed she doesn't do TV interviews anymore the same way? And when she does, for example, at the Time 100 interview in New York last year, it was so contrived, so meaningless.
Through all of this, Bauer stresses that Meghan never understood the core truth. When she was celebrated as a working royal, the admiration wasn't for Meghan Markle. It was for what she represented, British royalty. And now the public is no longer buying the performance.
What Meghan never really understood, probably not even now, is that when she was cheered as a working royal, it wasn't because she was Meghan Markle, it was because she represented British royalty.
He says California has molded Harry into someone unrecognizable from the man he once was, someone who no longer appeals to the same people he did before.
Know now in hindsight that Meghan never really intended to stay. Her guest list to her wedding showed her real ambition was to be a star in California.
Once the truth began to rise, the brand, the storyline, and the fantasy all started to fall apart. Bauer says no rebrand, no interview, and no emotional monologue can undo the damage now. The public has seen too much, and the version of Meghan she marketed for years cannot withstand the truth that is emerging.
Now it's clear that Archwell, their company, is not a charity, it's a commercial organization. They give very little money away for charity because they haven't got much money in the pot. And compared, for example, to Bezos, who gives away hundreds of millions.
Bauer believes the next year will be the most revealing yet, not because Meghan speaks, but because the world finally stops listening. There you have it, Meghan Markle's lies exposed by Tom Bauer. Which of these lies shocked you the most? Let us know in the comment section, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next video.